I decided to teach myself how to draw with my left hand in 30 days. Now in this video, I'm going to explain to you why I decided to self-inflict a challenge like that. And I'm going to give you guys a time lapse as I kind of explain everything. Before we get started though, this is a really personal video for me. If you haven't already seen me before, my name is Quill and this is Bewildering Studio. This channel is for art enthusiasts, so if you're an art enthusiast like me, go ahead and like and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. There's a trigger warning with this one because this is, like I said, very personal. I am going to talk about some depression and some suicidal ideology. If those are topics that make you uncomfortable, just stop the video right now. You can go hang out with me another time. I have plenty of other videos that are a lot more lighthearted. But if you're here and you're sticking around for the ride, then I'm going to go ahead and give you guys my time lapse and explain to you everything that's been going on the last 30 days. This challenge was really fun and it was actually a lot more empowering than I expected it to be. I kind of went into it knowing that I wasn't going to post anything until I was completely finished because I have a habit of doing challenges that are posted by other people, including the really big ones such as Inktober, for the first couple of days and then kind of falling off the radar and feeling disappointed. I don't like not being consistent, but I do have to give myself some flexibility and some grace because I am a person living with disabilities and chronic illness, chronic mental health issues, and things like that. So with this one, I was like, I'm going to do this challenge for myself, not for the sake of posting, but if I can manage to finish it out, then I'll post it and I'll talk about my experience and I will be more upfront with you guys about why. So basically, I already know how to write with my left hand. And I figured it shouldn't be too much of a stretch because I have that experience using both hands. However, what I didn't realize is that I actually had an easier time writing with my left hand, drawing with my left hand than I thought I was going to, because despite the fact that I can write with it, I heavily favor my right hand. I was born using my right hand. So this is my predominant hand, and this is the hand that I've always drawn and paint with, unless I'm doing some silly exercise like for a class or something like that. But I was like, what if I can actually get to the point, skill level wise, where I can do just as good paintings with my left hand as I can with my right? And it wasn't just for the sake of curiosity. It's actually stemming from the fact that I have a strong risk of actually not being able to write or draw anymore with my right hand in the future. And the reason for this is because if you're not new to my channel, you might already know, but I have a condition called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And while this isn't in and of itself disabling, there are certain aspects of it that have caused me to sustain injuries that even with time and physical therapy and treatment, I haven't been able to fully heal from. And they still, despite happening years and years and years ago, affect my life on a daily basis, to the point where even doing basic self-care or basic cleaning around the house, or even just like leaving my house to do an errand, is extremely difficult. And that's because I have the very specific type of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome called hypermobility. And if you want to research Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, you can go ahead and do that on your own time. But everybody who has it shows different symptoms depending on the type of condition that they have under that whole umbrella of genetic disorders. So this is something that runs in my family. And I had noticed symptoms from the time I was 6 years old, but nobody really knew what it was at that time. I was experiencing things like chronic pain, especially in severe weather, such as like snowy, icy weather. I would get really, really bad pain and redness in my joints. I would also be really clumsy, so I would fall frequently. I have horrible proprioception. So if you don't know what that means, it's like not really being able to sense how far or close away objects or other people are around from you. And I would be hitting myself on things all the time, getting bruises and spraining my wrist, spraining my ankle, spraining my shoulder, getting all of those kinds of injuries. But because my disorder affects collagen, my injuries don't heal the way normal people's do. And one of the biggest injuries that I sustained actually happened in second grade. And what had happened was I was in PE class, and my PE teacher was right about to pull the net up from the ground, like onto the poles for volleyball. And he had put it down, and my ball had flown over to the other side of the gym across it. And I decided to run and jump over the net. And rather than making it, my foot got caught while he was pulling up the net, and all of my body weight fell forward onto my hand, which had folded and tucked under my body. So my entire little body weight was resting on my hand, and I ended up having to go to the doctor, and it was sprained. Now, normally a sprain, it's not a break. It's just, you pulled it, you pulled your muscle, you pulled your tendon, things like that. So it should have healed pretty well for the most part, and I don't think it should have bothered me for as long as it did. But to this day, it's still a problem. And because my joints are looser, I've repeatedly injured this over and over and over again, to the point where I have a really weak right hand grip in comparison to my left hand, which isn't dominant. So it's a little bit strange, but since I still paint and draw, I do get sharp shooting pains in my wrist. I do have to take a lot of breaks. Whereas when I was younger, I would be drawing and painting all day, every day. Like that's all I would do. And so I've not been painting and drawing as much with how bad my pain has gotten, because it's progressively gotten worse. And this isn't just a wrist issue. I'll probably share more of my story in future vlogs and things like that. But specifically with my wrist, I think it is currently one of the most emotionally damaging things, because I have a hard time just doing basic things that don't feel like they should be difficult. For example, I will have these episodes where my hand will like stiffen up to where I can't really feel it. It almost is like a numb feeling. And it's strange to say the word numb, because it feels like it hurts. And in my head, numb is like you don't feel anything, but I haven't really figured out a good way to describe it. And so I'll wake up in the morning, I'll have pain, I'll have this weird, like surrealist feeling that I just can't really put into correct words, I think, for someone else to understand. But it makes me have a sensation in which I don't feel comfortable holding objects. And the reason for that is because my like fine motor skills aren't very good, and I'll actually like drop things. So like I'll go to write and I'll drop my pen over and over again because I can't get a good grip on it. I've dropped dishes while I was cooking. I've had instances where I have been holding like a pot of food and just immediately dropped it on the ground as soon as I tried to move it. And then I've actually gotten issues with jobs. There was one very prominent example where I was in college and I worked at an ice cream shop. And I started getting so fatigued that I had to quit after 2 months, because I would be trying to just pick up things like cookies to serve them, and I would just drop them on the floor. And I got laughed at and I got called clumsy. And I tried to explain, like, I have an actual disability, but because I'm how I am and I look just like your average Joe, I guess, people have a hard time understanding how difficult it is to just do basic things and just be me in my body all day, every day. So without me really explaining it to people, you just wouldn't know. And I do. I look goofy, I look clumsy, but that's not just, this little simple thing. Like, this is an actual problem that prevents me from living the life that I would love to do. So that actually prevents me from also being able to brush my hair. When I used to brush my hair, I would take days and days to do it, because I would brush a little bit out and my actual hand would like close in on the brush or the comb and my fingers would get stiff. So I like couldn't open it back up again. And that was really scary for me. And I have struggled on and off with suicidal ideation and depression, probably from the time I was 6 years old for various reasons. But one of them was because I didn't really feel like I could be who I am in this world, because everything that I wanted to do was taken away from me. And as an artist and as a person with disabilities, I see things a different way than other people do in this world. And I've kind of come to terms with the fact that no matter how bad my disability gets and progresses, I'm never not going to see the world how I do. I'm never not going to be creative. I'm never not going to be striving to adapt and learn and grow new things, because that's just who I am as a person. And if you feel validated by anything that I've said so far, if you've ever felt like you've been trapped into not being able to accomplish your dreams, please let me know in the comments, because I would love to hear your story and have a conversation. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the video. If you haven't yet liked and subscribed and you enjoyed this one, please go ahead and do that now, as well as go over to my website, quillcastro.podia.com, where I talk about art topics in the form of blogs. I highlight one artist a month who is a living artist that you can actually go see and visit on their social media or their website, and a lot of other fun things. With that being said, thank you, and I hope you have an amazing day. Don't forget that I have a poem for you that you can just download as a PDF in my description box below called My Hands.